Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Wednesday, June 4th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast. Stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
Harrowing images from the fire zone in the Ronge area posted online. Thousands of residents of one of the largest northern communities forced to evacuate away from the approaching Pisu wildfire, estimated to be 83,000 hectares as of Tuesday afternoon.
All the people that are working so hard to support the firefighters and fire suppression, like, this is insane. When you look at a map about how much is burning, like, it's insane.
Evacuees from nearby are unsure if their homes will still be standing once they return.
I don't think we really have much of a chance of saving the place.
The fire damaged the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency air tanker base at the Ronge Airport.
The SPSA is reacting and getting an administration trailer up into Ronge so that we can continue to dispatch our tanker aircraft, all of the aircraft that are there. No aircraft were lost.
But some residences in the area have already been lost to the flames.
We may see more if we continue to have fire encroach into the town. So it's a rolling number. We confirm some, but again, we may still, unfortunately, see more losses as time goes by here.
Highway 2 is closed to northbound traffic except emergency vehicles. As of this afternoon, remaining evacuees are using the southbound lane to escape the fire. Evacuees say they saw vehicle accidents on the way out. The Saskatchewan Health Authority says 53 patients have been evacuated from hospital and transferred to more than a dozen facilities across the province. The Public Safety Agency says it has secured a large helicopter from Alberta that can work in close proximity to heavy smoke to suppress fires in and around the community. This as many hope and pray for relief from the flames. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
As flames inch closer to their communities, Manitoba First Nation chiefs are calling for more help.
Our people are on the ground by themselves, left alone to fight this fire. That should not be in Canada.
In Pucktawagan, all but 50 essential workers have evacuated the northern community. Chief Gordy Bear says those that remain are battling a blaze 10 hectares in size, with 2 fire trucks and hoses no bigger than what you'd use to water a garden.
We have nothing but hose for our gardens, rakes for the lawns, nothing to fight fire with, nothing.
And over in Pimachikmak, Chief David Monia says his community has just 1 fire truck.
For a community of 10,000 people, that's ridiculous.
Both chiefs say since the wildfires began, they haven't received any equipment from the province or the federal government.
They could have put out many of these fires if they had basic fire suppression tools, water tankers, even things like hoses, protective gear. These should have been provided from day one.
Now, with more than 17,000 people already forced to flee their homes due to the wildfires, First Nation leaders say more equipment is desperately needed.
It doesn't matter about jurisdictional issues or who's responsible for what. We need equipment in the communities yesterday.
The Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs says it's going to be doing an assessment of what's needed in these communities and sending a list to the federal government. Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Police were called to this home around 12:30 this morning for unknown trouble. A 911 call came in, but the dispatch operator only heard voices in the background inside the home. There was no caller on the other end of the line. When officers arrived, a 28-year-old man fled up the stairs to the second floor.
There was a struggle between the male upstairs with police, and there would have been a brief interaction and a conducted energy weapon. And then there was also the self-inflicted wound suffered by this individual.
Investigators say a second man in his 50s was found dead inside the home. A woman, also in her 50s, suffered minor injuries. Police are not releasing the names of the 2 dead men, but neighbors identify them as Mauro Giannacaro, the father, and his 28-year-old son, Luciano. This Facebook photo shows the father and son together in 2010. Neighbors tell CTV News there was often loud fights at the home involving the grown son, who could be heard screaming and shouting at his parents. This man lives next door. He did not want to be identified on camera.
Been hearing it constantly on a regular basis for years.
Meanwhile, residents living in this Burlington neighborhood near Appleby Line and Dundas call the incident sad and disturbing.
It's tragic. It's so sad. It's incredibly unexpected. It's a really nice, family-oriented community.
Like I said, it's a nice neighborhood. I mean, it's very sad whatever's happened.
Halton police are conducting a parallel criminal investigation into the death of the father. The family has lived in this home for more than 14 years. The home remains sealed off as part of this investigation. Anyone with information is asked to call Halton Regional Police. John Musselman, CTV News in Burlington.
It takes just seconds for this pickup truck to ram through a window.
You could hear it. We didn't believe it. We didn't believe when we saw that the truck go through the window.
Abraham Dawood says he heard it from his bakery at the other end of this Bank Street strip mall.
And we went outside, they're still there, and we're watching what's going on till somebody, we called 911 a couple of times.
Police say 4 or 5 masked men rammed a stolen pickup through the jewelry store's front entrance shortly before 2:30 p.m. last Friday. On Tuesday, the storefront is partially boarded up as the jewelry store reopens. The store manager did not want to appear on camera, but he tells me once the suspects made their way through this outer wall, they then got inside the store where he says they used hammers to smash open display cases. He says they were in and out in under 30 seconds. It's the latest incident in a string of thefts targeting jewelry stores.
These jewelry store robberies are getting more and more brazen, and the risk to public safety is very concerning.
Just last month, a smash and grab at a store in Place d'Orleans was caught on camera, and an armed robbery at a jeweler in Bayshore in April. Just some of the latest examples.
These are happening because it's relatively low risk and relatively high gain. Jewelry is obviously worth a lot of money. These are largely controlled by organized crime, these heists.
It's not just Ottawa. This Toronto store hit for a second time this year.
They're masked up. They're looking to do something.
Also in the GTA, police were able to arrest a group of teenagers who allegedly tried breaking into a jewelry store with sledgehammers earlier this year.
This has become really sort of an epidemic of crime against particularly jewelry stores across the nation.
Patricia, police are still investigating the Bank Street robbery and are asking for anyone with information to contact the robbery unit. Patricia.
CTV's Peter Sperling live for us tonight. Thank you.
I'm standing on the banks of the Rouge River where the SQ are now on day 3 of their search for a woman who has been missing since falling into this fast-moving water. According to police, the 29-year-old woman was on a river rafting excursion late Sunday afternoon when she fell in. Although she was wearing a helmet and life jacket, she has not been seen since.
So immediately police were sent to that area, plus emergency services. We have to understand that the company also, when it happened, tried to locate her immediately.
The SQ has been using all of its search tools, including ATVs, jet skis, helicopters, and drones. Police divers are also on the scene who are familiar with this river.
For example, our divers, they're specialists in current and water, so they know what to do if the victim went downstream. They know exactly with the current where the person could be.
Rafting company Nouveau Monde did not wish to speak on camera, but say they are doing everything they can to help with the search. They say their heart is now with the friends and family of the woman who is missing, and they are offering psychological support to the family and staff who have been deeply affected by the incident. The company has temporarily suspended its operations. Nouveau Monde is well known in the area. It's been operating for 45 years and takes 20,000 clients a year onto the river and offers excursions for all levels. Police say they are in close contact with the woman's family, and they will assess at the end of today whether or not to continue the search. Denise Roberts, CTV News in Grenville-sur-la-Rouge.
A family in tears at a small memorial northeast of Edmonton as they honored 25-year-old Tiana Lancashire. They say she was a loving and caring mother who had a childlike spirit.
Beautiful little girl. She was so sweet, you know. Life gets complicated for us all, but that sweet little girl is who's going to be in our hearts.
Her family says they initially reported her missing in 2023.
They did try and report her missing several times, and it's like they weren't taking it seriously.
This past April, they got the news they were all dreading. Remains found near Aram Road and 17th Street, a DNA matched Lancashire.
It's really hard. It's overwhelming. It's not something anybody would ever want to deal with.
Lancashire's family says her partial remains were found along with some clothing. Police say the area was large and forested, which made the search particularly complex.
As it is right now, we pretty much know nothing other than they found a piece of her. We have no idea what happened.
Police are investigating her death as suspicious.
There's no way she came here and no reason for her to be here. It's absolutely suspicious.
Lancashire's family is pleading for anyone to come forward. They hope to locate the rest of her remains so they can lay her to rest.
If anyone out there knows anything, please help me bring our little peanut back.
The cause of Lancashire's death has yet to be determined. Nav Sangha, CTV News, Edmonton.
Jack Sullivan, still missing.
Reading the words from a page he was handed at a vigil for his missing stepchildren, 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan, Daniel Martel says it brought out a lot of emotions.
They had some RCMP speakers and people from the community, and there was even one guy who drove all the way from Sheet Harbor to come up and show his respect, so I appreciate that.
The children are believed to have wandered away from their home on May 2nd. It's been weeks and not much has turned up since, but Martel is still holding on to hope the children will be found safe.
It doesn't get any easier. I mean, 1 month has passed.
At the vigil, Martel didn't know what to expect, but people came. Strangers stood silent, held candles, and left messages.
What else can you do? It's a way they can show their emotion and as best they can, and that we haven't forgotten.
The children's mother didn't attend the vigil. Martel says the grief has been overwhelming, and online speculation hasn't helped, especially for their daughter that still lives with her.
Put your focus outward around Malaya and toward the kids. Don't attack Malaya, because her mental health is, you know, it's going to be reflected on our daughter, so I don't want anyone attacking Malaya anymore.
The county's warden says he understands a vigil may seem premature to some, but it's a sign of how deeply the community cares.
I always thought that perhaps it was a little early, and perhaps it would show that we were sort of accepting the inevitable, and maybe we have to, but I think there was still hope here. I don't think they were giving up.
The RCMP is still investigating this as a missing persons case and is encouraging anyone with information to reach out. Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Stellarton.
And it's getting almost intolerable.
Clouds of dust blow in the wind in northern Airdrie. It's coming from the Tanis concrete facility on East Lake Crescent and is coating the RVs and campers at Western RV. Bruce Urban says he's worried about more than the mess it makes.
And it's a major concern, and it's a health hazard, and we need somebody to listen.
Experts say dust from concrete often contains silica. The small particles can cause lung damage and even cancer. The Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety says if this dust is inhaled, it can cause serious respiratory tract disease. The landowner right beside the concrete plant is also concerned.
From environmental and health issues, especially if you're asthmatic or you have allergies or you were sick, would this concrete dust affect your life?
Tanis Concrete began operating in Airdrie about 9 years ago after Western RV was already there and is now owned by Lafarge. Urban says he's noticed an increase in activity and dust in recent years. According to open data, the land use is zoned for heavy industrial employment, while the RV dealership's land mere meters away is zoned for industrial park employment. The city of Airdrie declined to go on camera, but in a statement said an investigation is underway. In an email obtained by CTV News, a provincial environmental protection officer visited the concrete company last month and ordered some fixes. However, Urban says he feels his concerns are being shuffled around.
When you're up against a wall like that, my question is, what do you do? Do you shut down your business? Because your employees are being put through this.
Lafarge has not replied to our requests for comment.
And Stephanie joins us from Western RV tonight. So Stephanie, what more did you learn about that visit from the Environmental Protection Officer?
Tara, the officer gave the concrete company a list of corrective actions that it should take in order to address the dust that's coming from the yard that you can see behind me. Now, it wants road sweeping to improve. It says the company should install some new mat technology to help clean mud from the trucks. And it says that some calcium chloride should be added as another dust control measure. However, any further health complaints that come from Western RV, they should be directed to occupational health and safety going forward. But as for any action on that front, Tara, that's still up in the air.
Okay, Stephanie, thank you.
A province in economic limbo. From the cost of living to tariffs, many are pinching pennies, leaving the real estate market in Metro Vancouver hitting a 10-year high in inventory. New data from Greater Vancouver Realtor shows in May, there were just over 2,200 sales, an 18.5% decrease from last year at this time, making sales this year rank among the slowest in the past decade.
We finally got an accepted offer.
After 60 days on the market, Vancouver Realtor Nancy Cheese says, although challenging in recent months, the market is picking up.
In the last couple of months, it was very, very slow, but we're starting to see buyers actually come out in the last couple of weeks.
A glimmer of hope that is also being felt in the Fraser Valley.
There was some slight encouragement, and I acknowledge that it's very modest and small, but our sales increased 13% month over month. From April.
Although Jacobson says the region is still down 22% year over year and 36% of its 10-year average.
We will take what we can get, Craig, at this point, and it was a good sign.
But will this continue? UBC housing expert Tom Davidoff says there's a few factors at play.
The market has been facing headwinds of a lot of condo completions, a slowdown in immigration, and higher interest rates.
And if the Bank of Canada does decrease interest rates on Wednesday, what does this mean for the market?
I don't think it's going to happen, but if it did happen, I think the outlook is a little bit less negative. I don't think we start to see price increases necessarily, but the rate of decline would slow down.
Welcome in. So this is a 2-bedroom unit that is coming on the market.
As for Chi, she is hoping the recent momentum continues into the summer, as the future remains uncertain. Craig Crow, CTV News, Vancouver.
Who wants to get Lyme's disease, right? Scary stuff.
17 cases, a record number of confirmed cases of Lyme disease in 2024. Now the health unit is trying to raise awareness.
The more humid weather, rainfall, it supports the population of ticks in Windsor-Essex County.
There are signs going up on trails across the region like this one. The recommendation, stick to the center of the trails and avoid long grassy areas. Use insect repellent with DEET and wear bright colored clothing.
Wear long sleeve shirts and long pants, tucking your pants into your socks, just so that you're fully covered to prevent the ticks from attaching to your body.
Elaine Bennett, environmental manager with the health unit, recommends taking a shower within 2 hours of coming inside and do a body check after an outdoor activity.
Unless I'm biking, I usually don't stray from the path. You know, I understand there are ticks in our area.
If you find a tick, remove it as soon as possible with a tick key or a pair of tweezers. Don't squeeze or twist the tick.
You want it to come out fully, and typically, if you're removing the tick within 24 hours, the bacteria that causes Lyme disease will not enter the bloodstream.
The health unit conducted tick dragging at Malden Park today.
Depends on the year. We have had years that we found more. Some years we found none at all. So we'll see what happens today.
After 30 minutes, draggers recovered a dog tick. The health unit is tick dragging 4 sites in the region this spring, looking for limbs and larvae.
Public Health Ontario, they have a mapping system. Windsor-Essex County has already been deemed as endemic for ticks. We just want to see exactly the extent.
Now, there isn't one specific hotspot for ticks in our region, but the message from the health unit is to be mindful when you're on the trails or even in your backyard landscaping. Stephanie?
Okay, thank you, Bob, and you can find all of those tips on our website.
Crime Stoppers Brant Branford is willing to pay up to catch fentanyl traffickers.
From $500 to $1,000 for any tips that lead to
the arrest of fentanyl traffickers or the seizure of large quantities of fentanyl.
A new initiative running through June and July is called Stop Fentanyl, Save Lives. Fentanyl is described as a potent opioid, 100 times more potent than morphine, according to Grand Erie Public Health.
The recent stats show that the problem isn't going away, it's actually becoming significantly worse.
Data from Crime Stoppers shows in the last year and a half, Brantford police seized more than double the amount of fentanyl than they did in all of 2022 and 2023, while the number of charges filed is already equal to that 2-year period, and the number of overdoses and overdose deaths are also closing in on a similar trend. Meanwhile, Six Nations Police hasn't seized as much fentanyl recently as they did in 2022 and 2023, but the number of charges are climbing and overdose deaths believed to be fentanyl related are the same.
In the case of fentanyl, such a deadly scourge, this is a good opportunity to remind people that Crime Stoppers is there and they're listening.
Former OBP Commissioner Chris Lewis says this new initiative is a good incentive for more tips.
They arrange to pay in a way that they're not seeking names or identities of anybody. They just want the information.
Crime Stoppers says anonymity is crucial.
Crime Stoppers never ask for your phone number, your name, or any information about you. All your information is anonymous.
Only a couple days into June and they're already getting tips.
Fentanyl traffickers don't wear signs saying I'm a fentanyl trafficker, so that's why we like to, encourage the public to call in and help steer us in the right direction.
Hoping to get dealers of all levels, suppliers, and also the deadly drug off the streets for good. Grand Erie Public Health warns that the fentanyl supply is highly contaminated with other drugs, making the risk of accidental overdose very high. Also noting that fentanyl was the most common opioid present in opioid fatalities between 2019 to 2023. Tony.
A trend being seen across a lot of regions. Okay, Heather Centerin, thank you for that report.
A quick gift, a souvenir, maybe a bottle of spirits. It's all there at our convenience when we cross the border. But now duty-free shops face an inconvenient truth.
This is not a fat cat industry. The people we've spoken to who have these particular operations across this country are ordinary working people who live in their community, employ people in their community, and give back to their community.
Sarnia Mayor Mike Bradley has joined 14 other border city mayors in penning an open letter to the federal government. They're asking for help for duty-free stores as cross-border traffic stalls. The group wants immediate cash support for duty-free stores, and it wants the government to align excise tax policies and export status with American duty-free rules. Something they say would make them more competitive with U.S. stores.
Urgent action is needed, or we risk losing independent, family-run duty-free stores that have been the cornerstone of our town for decades.
The last time duty-free shops went through anything like this was during COVID, when the border was closed for 2 years. According to the mayors, they have struggled to get back on their feet since then.
The duty-free business in our community is generally driven by those who are going over for sporting events, for leisure travel, and that is what you're seeing decline dramatically. And it's not just in Windsor, it's across our country where Canadians are saying, you know what, we just don't want to go to the United States, we don't want to spend our money there right now, we don't want to travel there.
The Frontier Duty Free Association says its members have seen revenues decline by 60 to 80% due to the U.S. trade war. Mayor Bradley says 3,000 jobs are at stake.
But if the industry fails across this country, some future government in the next 5 to 10 years is going to have to reinvent the duty-free industry. We don't want to see that happen.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.